What is the standard English way to say "ken tumpang"?
Can I hit you right from you?
Perfect. Excellent. 10 out of 10. Wow, he's the
Still
right.
can one, you still can code switch, right?
What can I say?
You say you cannot.
I got Sir Stamford Raffles in my blood. Literally. Oh my god, I don't think I can switch back now.
Oh my god.
So I'm stressing out about this episode because we are talking about speaking good English. And I feel like I need to enunciate and pronounce every word. If not, y'all are going to come for me in the comments, right? Welcome to another episode of The Usual Place. I'm your host, Natasha. And today we'll get into it all about the standard of English, how we're embracing Singlish, and why we are fiercely proud of our Singaporean accent. But before we get into it all, let me introduce you to my three guests today. First up, I have Nicole, who declares that she's fiercely Singaporean. She's very proud to be Singaporean and she embraces her Singaporean accent.
Yes, I love Singapore. I love the Singaporean accent. I love Hokkien Mee.
Next to her on the couch, we have Audrey, and Audrey is the reason why we are here because she and her two university friends, Bernadette and Erin, actually decided to take a look at the standard of English for their final year project. That's right.
Yes,
And
I'm so honored to be able to speak about my academic project in such an exciting setting. So thank you.
no, thanks for coming on. And next to you, we have actress, MC, and voiceover host Kate, who has a series on social media where you help people with pronunciation.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Hi guys.
Thank you guys for coming on. But maybe we'll start with Audrey first. So tell me why you and your two friends decided to look at the standard of English in Singapore.
Right, so at the very beginning, we viewed it as sort of a puzzle because on one hand, Singaporeans are doing top at international standardized tests. Like every few months, you see a new headline from ST saying, oh, Singaporeans are the best speakers in the world, or at least in Asia. But then on the other hand, you have politicians generating buzz on social media for their English slip-ups, or you have our own teachers giving us bad feedback on essays and sort of lamenting that standards have fallen.
Have you gotten one from your teacher?
Me personally, no.
Okay, you speak good English.
I don't know, but then again, it's all subjective, right? So I think overall, we just wanted to see whether the Singaporean sentiment has changed, whether or not we have sort of accepted that our English is going to remain where it is, or whether we are still trying and failing maybe to achieve a standard that we're not at yet.
So could you quickly sum up what your project found actually?
So we did find that Singaporeans have sort of relaxed and we are embracing our mix of non-standard and standard English more. And not just that, we're impressing foreigners a lot with our Singlish. So instead of us trying to conform to standards overseas, a lot of foreigners come over and they want to learn Singlish, and they want to speak like how we speak. And there's a lot of trendy memes that have gone viral on TikTok actually for having the Singaporean accent or using Singlish.
Oh, is it like that Crime Watch girl?
Yes, the woman was too stunned to speak. Yeah. But also people trying to learn Singlish, it's viral as well.
Yeah, so we'll get into all of it, but maybe I could ask all of you, is there a particular thing about the way Singaporeans speak English that irks you? Mine actually is not a speaking thing. It's more of like a written thing where people use American spelling versus British spelling.
So what do you think is right then?
It's British lah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Drop the Singlish already. Yeah.
Okay, but you know what? Actually, I have an accent coach, right? And she teaches me because I'm an actress, right? So she teaches me the standard British pronunciation. And even she tells me, it's called RP, received pronunciation. And even she tells me that it's changing now. And she's been here, I think, maybe 13 or 16 years.
Yeah.
And she told me that the certain vowels, because that's what makes accents sound different, right? Certain vowels were taught with an Australian sound rather than a standard British sound. So
Right.
for example, is eh.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
but
you can't
also
unhear
very
this, you know.
confusing.
Yeah.
Like, what is right? Yeah.
I mean, I always say on my channel, like, as long as people can understand you,
you,
what's
yeah.
what's
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I have
Nicole?
nothing that irks me about the Singlish accent. I love it. I think it's so convenient. Like can.
Can. And there's different intonations, right?
Yeah, like it's like you mix Chinese, the Han Pinyin, and English together, and then you shorten one sentence, right? And like from just one sound, right? I know so many things from like what you're trying to tell me. So I don't think anything irks me. But I think it was like difficult to learn because when I was in primary school,
Yeah,
it
you
was
said,
like
yeah.
all like the girls' school like accent, then like also like girls' school girls, like they normally speak better English. Then I didn't know Xia was a thing. Then I didn't know when to edit. Then I remember the first time I ever heard it was this boy in my tuition class. Then he would say something like, "Wow, I scored them low, Xia." Then I was like,
What did he say?
Why
What did he say?
I score them low, Xia.
Oh, okay.
Then I was like, why he say prawn? Like I thought it was prawn. Like on God, right? I like pictured the sentence and it ended with a prawn. Then I was like, that don't make sense. Then I realized like, oh my God, contextually, Xia is like
Right? It's like a...
what's that thing called? Emphasis sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I was like, oh my gosh. Then when I went into like, I didn't manage to go Raffles Girls, so I went neighborhood school. Then everyone used. Then I'm like, oh my God, I cannot. I FOMO. I cannot. I need to adapt, acclimatize, and overcome. So I also go and learn how to use. Yeah. Then I started using. Then I was like, oh my God, I cannot. Because as I grew older, right, as I was like writing essays, I was telling Natasha, I was like, sister girl, I cannot express myself anymore. Like it's like how to say Scully, she like da 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 da. Like what is Scully? How to write Scully?
is very difficult.
So basically you're thinking, now you think in Singlish.
No, like yeah, now I like everything's in Singlish. Then what is the word to actually replace Scully? I don't know what is the English word, the phrasal verb.
Oh my gosh, you're giving me... Now I'm thinking about it. What is the
No,
word
but
to
honestly, Scully is probably the hardest
Hardest
thing
word
to
to-
explain to,
to
foreigners.
convert
yeah.
to like...
Yeah.
It means one time, right? Like
No, it's like
on the
Yeah,
off
yeah,
chance
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
okay,
the
yeah,
off
actually,
chance that.
it comes from Malay.
It does, yeah.
Yes.
It's Sekali.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the word means on the off chance that this should happen once.
Yeah.
That's so many syllables.
but like,
So many
And then
words.
shortened to one.
how did I say this before I learned of this word? Like, if I were to say this exact sentence in the Nicole universe where she doesn't know what Scully is, right? Like, what I used to say, I really don't know. Then that was like my wake-up call. I was like, well, I cannot articulate myself properly in English anymore. And like, I still in school, I cannot submit this to like, imagine the people in Britain or wherever they market out paper, what the hell is this, man? They're just like, are you okay? Are you good? So I
They'll
was
be like,
okay,
what am I reading? Am I good?
am I good? Am I the problem?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they wouldn't know what hit them. But you talking about, not being able to write in proper English now, but has that, going back to what Audrey found in the project, do you think people have embraced Singlish a lot more than even say like 5-10 years ago?
Yeah, I think in many settings, not just school, but also in like the workplace, they are finding that not only is Singlish not a detractor from communication, it can actually boost your exchanges with your coworkers. So the people that we talk to, some of them will throw in Singlish just to be more relatable or to get the same point across in as few words as possible. So that's great for like a corporate sort of environment.
It's like more chill, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And this comes across in even like professional settings, like because you're talking about the work setting,
Yeah.
right?
I think, of course, if it's like very formal boardroom meetings, then standardizing the English would be better because there's jargon that you use in different jobs. But just passing in the corridor or visiting someone at their desk, I think it's very common nowadays to just slip into Singlish. Yeah.
And there's that thing that kind of came up from your project, which was actually someone said it. I think it was a professor who said that Singaporeans who ever only speak standard English are read as snobbish and deliberately distanced from local identity. And actually, I agree fully with that. But does that make me a Singlish snob? But I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, if people don't speak Singlish, if they're Singaporean and they don't speak Singlish, do you think they're snobbish?
Do you speak like that on a regular basis?
No, when I
Call
cut
you
camera,
code switch.
I'm like,
So
we code switch. Yeah.
I feel like, I think, okay, what I want to define at this point is, what is Singlish?
Yes.
Because is it the accent?
Yeah, I know what you're
Or
talking
is it the
about.
sentence structure? Because we sound Singaporean, right?
okay, so I
Lim
get it a
Keng
lot.
Hua, we all, Lim Kesiu, we sound Singaporean. It's just the standard
Standard of-
British English sentence structure. Whereas when we're talking about like fully Singlish, right? Because I'm Chinese, right? I think that it is English with a Mandarin sentence structure to my family. Because 你吃饱了没? You eat already or not.
Yeah.
Directly translates to that in English.
I get what you
But I don't know about like the other races and their backgrounds. How would you define Singlish for you?
Like, I don't,
English with a
No, I know,
Tamil,
because I know what you're talking. You know, some people, right, they will speak like the standard English accent, right? But then they will use like la and stuff like that one. So they sound proper, right?
That's
but
me.
Yeah, it's like I can't even like fake this. But
Okay, I can fake this for
Okay,
you.
do it.
Explain. What?
Like they will just speak with
Okay, say
the-
something in Singlish. I'll do the SBE translation.
As in, like, for example, can you give me a sentence with la?
why are you so like that, lah?
No, that one.
no,
Oh
that's
no,
me.
no, I know it. No, they're like, don't like that la. Like this is how they'll speak, you know?
Okay, so does the accent thing irk you?
But
Like-
don't like that.
No,
It's Singlish
but
already.
yeah, no, but
不要
thing-
这样啦。
They don't say it with the Singlish accent.
No, but then in which case, if they do it with like a standard British English and then a la at the back, I can understand why that's like jarring.
Yeah, that's what like some people do. Like I've heard people like their everyday conversation. I'm like, Papa of Queen, I guess local cuisine or whatever. But like,
Where does that come
Are you on? Are you okay?
no,
with it?
I
very amusing,
I
is it?
confused lah. Like you speaking English or not? But you know what? Not I respect the hustle.
Okay,
whatever
so
this is.
Singlish to you is speaking with that Singaporean accent.
I would say it's like Singaporean accent plus the ling ling long long all behind. But yeah, I think that's like the true blue Singlish to me, because I feel like Singaporean accent it sounds lazy sometimes also. So you have to have that sprinkle,
What do you mean it sounds lazy?
because we speak very slurred.
Yeah, because we eat the words, right?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah, but I think a
Australians,
lot of
yeah.
languages as well. A lot of English speakers around the world, they eat their words as well.
Really? Ah?
Yeah, I think so. And you know what's interesting, because she says something like, you know, it's English with all the ling ling long long, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's kind of like when Gen Z speak, and because I'm millennial, right? I hear you say things like, and then you switch from one accent to another, and then you say like,
She just did
God
it.
on God, and
Yeah.
then
This
when
is
you
all-
go back and forth with all these words, right? To me, I'm just like, this is a whole new lingo, and we're creating new languages
yeah.
as we move forward. So why would that not apply to Singaporean English versus standard British English, or a mix of them both with la at the back, la?
La.
Wow. That was so much. I need to digest.
Basically, you need to infuse Singlish in. Okay, so what Audrey's found from the project is really that Singaporeans are actually embracing this Singlish, not this English, but embracing Singlish in their everyday life, and
Right.
it's less frowned upon than before.
Yes.
But when was it ever
Yeah,
frowned
I was-
upon? I
No,
don't.
I
Did
got
you
people.
have a
There
timeline?
have
Did
been.
you find a timeline to when this happened?
I mean, officially, maybe in 2000 when Goh Chok Tong launched the Speak Good English movement. And that was around the time Phua Chu Kang caught quite a lot of flack from like ministry officials. And also, I remember just going upwards through the Singaporean education system, there was sometimes stigma around speaking Singlish. And I remember instances where the teacher would make students stand up and go outside if they hit a certain counter of saying la or law.
What
or meh.
school did you go to?
Your school personally.
Okay,
No, I
don't
had,
say
like-
the name. Don't say the name. But wow, that's intense.
But to be frank, I can understand, because the ability to code switch has been extremely helpful for us as
For us.
speakers, right?
But not everybody can do it.
No, which
Yeah.
is fine. But I can understand why, you know, in school we are forced to do algebra. Have any one of us ever used algebra
Yeah,
in
I
our
use it
lives?
every day.
Every day. Ah?
Every time I go and see, I use algebra.
Oh, algebra.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
I buy apple and orange.
This is Nicole's way of
Yeah,
telling
yeah,
a
it's
joke.
just a-
No, so in the same vein, right? I feel like, you know, we were taught algebra with the hopes of us using it one day. or, finding our passion using algebra. But like, we were also forced to do a lot of things like science. Like, we understand physics, how, when you bounce a ball, what happens, and we understand a little bit of biology, we understand a bit of chemistry and everything. It's more for exposure
Right. Yeah.
to discover whether or not that is our gift.
Yeah.
Because some of us, we speak like this and we use it for our jobs,
Yeah.
Right.
So to be able to communicate with whoever we speak with, I think that's the core of why we were forced to learn so many different, diverse things in Singapore.
Yeah.
Like, we were
Yeah,
forced to do so many things in the past that we don't use now.
Right.
So why would this be any different?
Yeah,
Right.
when we were interviewing for this paper, no one ever said, oh, we should abolish teaching standard English and we should only do Singlish lessons, because I think the power of code switching is that you have both as tools in your inventory and then you can break that out. But if you were to only know Singlish, then there might be a part of the world that's limited to you. And likewise with only knowing standard English.
Okay. Well, I wanted to ask Nicole actually, do you get flack for speaking the way you do?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I really don't know. I get flagged for everything I do.
Oh no.
But it's just
your
a
working
facet of
problems.
being online, right?
Mixed with everything else really. Okay, last time I would get messages saying that for example, okay, this one was very, very long time ago. I used to speak in a cowboy accent, in the earlier stages of TikTok. Really I think you're still in secondary school, know this one. It's like during pandemic, we all stuck inside. Pandemic, secondary school, right? See?
No, pandemic was in
No,
university.
university. First year
Yeah.
university, yeah.
You know, my PA was in secondary school, taking O levels, when I was in the pandemic. But anyway, what was I saying? Then I was using a cowboy accent because yeehaw, tater tots, that kind of vibes. Then someone was like, why are you mocking the Blackson? Message me a long paragraph. But I never thought I was. I was like, cowboy, Texas Hold'em, whatever kind of vibes. That was what I was thinking in my brain. I was not trying to mock anyone or anything, but it was just a very easy accent to switch to, and I'm hee hee ha haing online. Then I realized, people really will get affected by this kind of thing. So I was like, okay, never mind. I'm more colloquial. I love Singapore. I speak with my Singaporean accent, but I don't normally get flagged. But then sometimes, right? Because in real life, I really am quite I think I speak very just normal, not too Singlish, also not too westernized. So
Standard English, you don't use.
yeah,
You
so
you use it and you don't.
I depends it depends
on
on my
the
mood.
scenario.
Maybe
Okay.
sometimes I'm Australian, but then so when I speak with my standard English online, and it's just if I'm with my friends and then I'm just filming, I'm like, okay guys, so today we were da da da, and it's just not very clearly Singaporean, right? Then sometimes I get comments like, why are you pretending to be Ang Mo? Oh my god, I want to swear so badly, but I'm not going to swear because I'm a reformed person. What's the frick? What the heck? Just let me live. Did you understand those words? You did, right? So why are you coming for my accent? I'm still Majula Singapore. 9 August, I still wish and pray that I get tickets to go and see fireworks at whatever stadium.
No, I love watching her. The fact is, when you watch Nicole talk, right, she goes from character to character to character, accent to accent. She is
It's the
the
voices.
biggest code switcher.
No, I feel like sometimes some accents are just better when you want to
Make a point.
see when you want to say, okay, whatever. You can do it in Malay accents. Okay, whatever. Or you can be like, whatever. I'm done with this. It's easier to put forth what I'm thinking in my brain out loud.
You know, it's crazy watching this because this is exactly all the things that I learned in accent school.
Oh my god!
When I
really?
do, yeah.
So do you get to practice a Singaporean accent? Does it ever come out?
So, this is like a wormhole I didn't want to get into.
Oh.
But as a Singaporean actor, whenever I'm auditioning, depending on the country it is auditioning from, I have to take on the accent. That's why I have a British RP received pronunciation coach, and I have an general American coach.
Okay, so it's just about you speaking
In the accent,
better
as if I was a local, like a local whose parents have migrated there, and therefore I sound like the local. So it's not too jarring for their viewers, right? But what's really interesting is I see Michelle Yeoh, Yu Beng, Lim Kay Siu, Keng Hua. They have the same Singaporean accent that I have, which is Singaporean, but standard British English sentence structure. I think what people get confused with is that Singlish is a specific sentence structure with a specific twang or intonation, whereas we speak standard British English sentence structure, and that's completely different with just like how Nicole speak lor.
Yeah. So
you know what I
you're
mean?
saying is that Singlish is its own language.
It's more than just one type of way to say things.
Yes.
You know, it's so many things depending on, and then you have the Indian community, the Malay community, the Chinese community. We all sound different, but you know when they are Singaporean or maybe Malaysian. You know, sometimes we blend a little bit with Malaysia.
Oh my gosh.
But like, you know, these people, when you are overseas and you hear the accent, you're like, Singapore, then they're like, Malaysia, same lah. You know, you feel like that sense of community. You're like, my
And
part
I
of the
feel
world.
Singaporeans now love that. They're so protective of
my
that
God,
Singaporean
yeah.
accent.
I
Like
feel
that.
so safe. When I go Korea, I walk down Myeongdong, it's like walking down Orchard Road like that. Like, it's just Singaporeans everywhere. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm back in Singapore. It feels so like,
It's like you never left.
yeah.
Yeah, but I thought it was interesting because there was this guy who got flagged recently for being interviewed. I guess Singaporeans picked up on it, and then they were like, "Yeah, you from Singapore? Where you have a accent that's not yours." Do you remember this? This is like I think he was in Canada. Audrey, do you know this?
Yeah, I think we came across this guy when we were researching. But I feel like people were too quick to cast like a moral judgment on him just for speaking the way he does, because I understand that sometimes if you're living overseas, you have to assimilate more by conforming to a certain accent, or sometimes it's just unconscious. Like
Very sensible. Yeah, that's a very logical, very sensible.
I mean, I'm sure when you're around like a group of American friends, you sort of feel yourself sliding. And then if you were to consciously stop yourself, it also feels ingenuine. So it shouldn't be like an indictment for you to sound a certain way.
But why is it ingenuine? Because the question is like, why is it ingenuine? It is a facet of you that's trying to learn something else. So to me, it would be like, now I know another accent. You know, and also I do code switch a lot when I go to like, say, New York, for example, or like wherever I go to the US. Like, I don't want them to ask me questions. I just want my coffee and get out of
They
there.
ask you where you
No,
from.
because they're chatty.
Or like sometimes they
Singapore,
don't
it's not.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah, they really don't understand. Then you're like, just an American. Like,
Yeah. No, like when I go Australia, right, it's like, can I get an Americano? Thank you. And just go there. Like if I want an Americano. What?
yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
Because they've never had to
Yeah.
understand someone else's accent. It's everybody sounds like them, which is to my point about being an actor, having to learn that accent, because the producers are like, well, what if, you know, she sounds like this and nobody in America can understand her. No, but it's getting better now, okay? For example, have you guys seen Amazon Prime's The Expanse? And everybody says the belters sound like Singaporean. The belter accent.
What's belt?
It's a type of people that have... okay, so basically, if Earth were no longer Earth and it's now all in space, and, you know, instead of a planet and another... a country and another country, they have one spaceship versus another spaceship. You know, so you're like, Singaporeans, you're all on this spaceship.
Wait, so it's split by Singaporeans?
No, it's just whatever cluster of people end up on that spaceship, they develop the accent based upon the different cultures that end up on that spaceship. So the accent becomes really mixed according to that. It is the idea. I'm
But
not
do you
saying
think,
it
right,
is accurate.
that the Singaporean accent is possible, like, because of, like, the exact same thing? Because we are relatively small, so what?
Absolutely agree. And that's why I brought up the whole, like, Singaporean English is, to me, a Chinese person, Mandarin with Mandarin sentence structure in English directly. Wait, let me just say that again. Singaporean English to me as a Chinese person is English with a Mandarin sentence structure.
That one I can...
Right?
Yeah.
So then in which case the Malays will have their own sentence structure
Right.
directly translated from their own Malay sentence structure, but word for word in English.
I feel like
and
Singlish is like... Then all the dialects is all, like, created by the different races.
And then we share dialects, right? If we say jialat, we say susah, you know, we know. We say kan, we say sombong, we say haolian, we know. We say hor, we say kan, we know.
Yeah, it's this whole mix of
So then,
different
does
languages,
that make,
right? Yeah.
is that what makes Singlish then? The fact that we know more than one language, more than two languages, in fact.
Yeah.
Even if we cannot speak someone else's language, the fact that we automatically, born in Singapore, would know at least three languages
Yeah, and you know,
or
I think it's so
variations of
crazy
it.
because sometimes you know the word like sekali. I had no idea it was like a Malay word or like agak-agak. Yeah, I didn't know it was Malay. I thought it was just a sound at first.
Wait, so you knew it as a Singlish word?
Yeah, like when growing
Yeah.
up, I didn't know where it came,
Came
from.
from, okay.
Yeah, like I didn't
Yeah.
know the origin. So it's like really like, why? And I thought it was like agar-agar, but then that's jelly. Then like the correct one is with a K. Yeah, so it's like all these like small, long stuff that we didn't
I think it's
realize.
important to know the history of some Singlish words because it kind of tends to get pronounced wrongly.
Yeah, definitely. That's why like I think after like because when I grew up I didn't really have much like Malay speaking friends. Then as I grew older, then like I got like I know walks of life lah. Then you meet all these new people. Then like oh my gosh, I didn't know. Wow, oh my god, cool. Yeah. But I think because Singapore very small, right, and we are very young, and then so leading back to the Canadian boy, I feel like the reason why he got crucified is because like we don't really have a lot of national identity. So I think we hold like Singlish like it's like
Singlish is the one unifier of us all.
yeah, maybe lah, I don't know, possibly.
But also, if you're able to if you're able to communicate with people who don't speak Singlish, right, you can share more, right? But the moment you come across as jarring, they're like, I don't understand them, forget about them, you know. And I feel like there's that bridge, you know, there's the Western world, because obviously we learn English, right? It's not like we learn Mandarin or something, right? Like as a first language. We learn English, and then you have the rest of the world that speaks English with the standard British English standard structure. We need to be able to, and because we can, some of us can, we need to be able to bridge that in order to explain to them, hey, you know, when we are in Singapore, right, and we love a certain food, this food is shiok.
Shiok.
Say it, shiok. And I tend to do that, but you can't teach them like, you can teach them can, you can teach them shiok, you can teach them jialat, you can teach them sombong, but you cannot teach them the English with Mandarin sentence
like the
structure.
sentence structure. Yeah.
I think it comes from being here, right? Like living in it.
Yeah,
Like, Audrey, you were
but
gonna
it
say?
hasn't stopped some schools from trying though, because recently we had this exchange student intake, and for orientation they had like a whole manual of Singlish sentence structure, and then it was like bunches of American and German and Canadian guys like struggling to be the first one to say, oh, this is can law or this is can ma, and they were so excited about it, and I felt like it was such a privilege.
This as a language now.
Yeah.
So
It was
it's like a mod in uni.
no, not a mod, but it was in one session, and there was a pop quiz, and you could win
kinda cool.
prizes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And this is in uni, right?
Yeah.
But you see, I think like uni, right, when you have solidified the mode of communication or the language of communication that you are going to be using for the rest of your life, that's when you can deviate from the standard English sentence structure into someone else's culture.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know? So you still need that foundational sort of like
English.
Yeah, yes.
But again, having said that, I still believe that you only need to communicate at the level that you need to communicate at
Yeah.
to function. So, which is anything really.
Yeah.
Because your Cai Fan uncle is going to say, sa bao. And then if the ang mo is there, he will be, eat or take away, right? He will do that.
Yeah.
But he only needs these two words, and he needs to only say it the way he knows how to say it. Eat or take away. But like, you know, that's what a lot of the previous generation, right? Like, that's what a lot of previous generation
I mean,
be
you
like,
have to
come my
you have
country, I have to speak English
kind
to
of
you,
meet
man.
them where they are, right?
Yeah,
No lah,
exactly.
you come my country, obviously you speak like my country. Like I go to where Paris that time, right? Like obviously I must start like actually speaking. Bonjour, je m'appelle Nicole. Like okay, I'm obviously not going on like that. I'll get hate crime. I'm not doing that. But like I have to like speak more proper so that they understand, you know, that kind of thing. That's why to return the favor, when je come to Singapore, you gotta speak Singaporean. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we touched on it briefly, and one of the things that I wanted to get into was code switching, because Audrey, in your project, the Speak Good English Movement Secretariat actually called it a privilege for someone to be able to code switch. And actually, I don't think it's that easy, to be honest, because you need that foundation of English, which is what you were saying. Does it come naturally to you, your friends, or I think I can resonate with what Nicole says about sometimes you are so entrenched in speaking Singlish and the way you speak English that sometimes I'm like, so what's the word? So I think the problem now is like switching back, right? Yeah. So what happens if you meet someone who just speaks Singlish all the way?
The question is, what if we meet someone that speaks English?
No,
I
do you
don't
think
we
it's a
will.
privilege to be able to code switch?
Yeah,
100%.
definitely.
100%. Yeah.
So what happens to the people who can't?
I think that's why Singapore is now trying to head in a direction where we are equipping ourselves more with code switching, and it's more about communicating effectively. So I think even at a official level, Singapore has taken notice, and hopefully code switching becomes even more of an asset. Like, I genuinely think that it should be a skill on LinkedIn. Like, it's on par with knowing completely other languages like Japanese or Korean. I think it's such a skill set because it involves body language, cultural knowledge, like situational awareness. Yeah.
I'm just thinking about other countries who speak English proficiently as well.
Yeah.
Like the Philippines, right? What? I mean, they teach us Taglish, which is Tagalog and English, right? Mixed together, like Singaporean and English mixed together, right? Like, they're proud of it. We're proud of it, right? So how does, Singaporean English or Singlish differ from Taglish then? The perspective of Singaporean English versus Taglish, in your opinion, since you did a study on it.
I think one viewpoint that was echoed again and again is languages at their core are always evolving. So I think now, similar with Taglish, Singaporeans are starting to realize, oh, this is something we can take and own and actually run with. So for example, in MediaCorp, maybe soon we'll actually have Singlish that reflects how the people around us sound instead of curating a sort of sanitized Singlish. Or
I
English.
agree with that. I agree with that. And the reason is this. I recently was doing a voiceover for Ubisoft's game that is produced in Singapore. Their lead character, a character called Asna Yatim. Let's not get into details, okay? Because like it's a game world, it's a game sort of story, game lore. Okay, none of it is real, so they can make her sound however she wants, however they want her to sound, right? So I was the voiceover artist for that lead character. And you go to Hardware Zone, which you shouldn't when you've done a series like this. I went to Hardware Zone and, against everyone's...
Why you doing this kind of
Because
thing?
I want to know. Because it's
Don't
like
you read
a
the
game-
comments?
No, I don't.
I always read the
I
comments.
always read the comments.
Yeah.
I-
Like,
I
okay,
love
we're on the same team, bro.
perspectives, yeah.
Nah, the one
Sad.
thing I do is I don't read comments.
Oh no, I know it's very bad for your mental health, but you were...
I lazy,
yeah.
I think it's character building. I want to know what everyone thinks. Yeah.
It's
No,
okay.
but like, so I went to Hardware Zone, right? Okay,
Yeah.
against, my better judgment maybe. I went to Hardware Zone and I read all the comments and people were like, this one is not even Singlish or, I mean like, remember Bolo Santosi, which is a previous character that was, voiced by a white person.
Wait, but how do they know that it's like, is this character supposed to be a Singaporean character or something?
Yes. So I voiced it. They expected me to, Ubisoft wanted me to sound Singaporean. But here's where it gets very jarring. Remember I told you about sentence structure and then there's accent. Sentence structure is British. It's not really that. Okay, I'm gonna break it down. Okay, I don't know if this is gonna be very geeky, but I'm gonna break it down in 3 different Singaporean English. Okay, there's basilect, which is very colloquial. Then you have the middle, which is mesolect, which is more or less similar to standard British English. And then at the top, where Lee Kuan Yew and all the politicians they use this standard British English. It's called
Acrolect.
acrolect. So you have 3 different ways to sound Singaporean. But because the script for Asna Yatim was written in sort of mesolect, acrolect, basilect, it switches over like 3,
forms of
Singlish.
Yeah.
But she has to sound like this. She has to sound like Nicole.
How she read?
Correct. So sometimes when you read
I
like,
where got sound like that?
no, but like when you, okay, for example, we're gonna take this, okay? We're gonna take this, right? And I'm going to read this as a voiceover artist. This is obviously standard British English, right? The sea of business outfits was replaced with waves of riotous colour. Let's use that sentence. Now, if we say it with the accent, the sea of business outfits was replaced with waves of riotous colour. Now, what would stand out to each one of you?
The accent.
The accent?
The word
or the
riotous.
sentence structure. So
I couldn't even hear
it
the
doesn't sound right because that is Singlish sound, but not Singlish sentence structure. So when people were commenting on it, this obviously isn't their area of expertise. So they wouldn't understand why it sounds so weird.
Right.
As a Singaporean, they're like, this sounds weird. I don't know why, but it sounds freaking weird and it sounds weird. But you don't get this comment from another person from another country.
Quite ironic because the very thing they're doing, which is policing the way people sound, is what they used to criticize back when, for example, the government came down more harshly on Singlish. So they're just repeating the same approach.
Which is very, you're right, ironic, right? Because it is interesting and I think it does come from a place of insecurity.
Oh yeah.
And the insecurity being they don't like being judged for being low ses, for example,
want
which
to
is
be
what
you.
the basilectal accent is sort of associated with, right? And so they want to say first. Right? They want to tekan first. So they're like, you speak proper English, right? What, you think you're better than us? Then it sort of classifies all the people that speak with acrolectal or mesolectal English,
I agree.
you know, as one kind of people that think they're better than other
Yes.
people. So it protects them, it helps them sleep at night. And it's not a flex or a dig at anyone. But I think, you know, the fact that we aren't making fun of them is saying a lot, really. Like, I mean, and then again, we can't generalize because there are some people who will make fun of the basilectal Singlish.
Oh no, I know people like, cause in uni, right? Oh my god, this is anecdotal. This is anecdotal, but it's alleged. I don't dare to say it really happened because like later the person come for me. But there was this one person from my like just this camp group. They refused to go to camp because apparently everyone was messaging in the camp group very colloquially, and they were like, "Ew, this is so Singaporean. I cannot be part of this. It's so low class."
Right.
I can't say this, but like yeah. And then I hear it, I'm like, bruh, like I'm pretty certain some of them they graduate, their starting pay higher than yours, but okay, whatever. Like, okay, stay elitist. And like it's such a weird way to be elitist. Like you realize everyone here is in university, right? Like they at least smart enough to go university, like let them be Singaporean and be university lah. Like, why so mad? But I love.
Well, that's
Stay
what
speaking with an accent, babes.
we just let people speak the way they want to speak, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Audrey, take us home with this. Did you ever find the answer to the question that your team put forth at the start of your project? Is our brand of English here to stay?
Yes, it is very much here to stay. And I think a question we kept getting is, oh, does this mean Singaporeans are giving up? But in the end, we realized it's not so much giving up, it's just accepting that we're along for the ride and that Singlish is going to keep evolving, and so is standard Singaporean English. And it's the same as any other variety of English in the world. And very much it is here to stay, and we are happy to see it stay.
Okay. On that note, thank you guys very much for being here. But also before I go, can I give a shout out to the Speak Good English movement? Because I was looking at their website and they have a lot of good resources there. So if you need anything to brush up your English on, you can head over there as well.
Phonics.
Yes.
Or you can go
No,
to
phonics.
Kids of All Trades. You can learn to pronounce.
Yes, Kate actually does all these videos where she, teaches her audience how to pronounce.
Well, it's
things.
more like people ask and so I answer. And you know what? I dive deep also. I it's not just about how you are supposed to say it. I discover the etymology as well, like who this road name used to belong to and how, based on where they're from, it's supposed to sound according to them. But if you want to say Gulamat Road, say Gulamat Road lah.
Gilmard.
As long as you're understood.
But like the more you know, I love knowledge. So like the more you know, I'm chronically curious. Right?
Meringue. Lingering.
Lingering. Charles.
We love.
On that note, we are done with this episode. But if you would like fresh content from the usual place, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get all the fresh content you want. And if you want to hear the audio version of this episode, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on the ST app. I'll catch you guys again at the next episode. See you at the usual place.